Hi my friends, and welcome back to a new video. Today I want to talk about my most anticipated releases of the next few weeks, the next few months. And yeah, I did a lot of research. I spent the last few hours and days researching publishing houses and authors, and I came up with a list of I think 9 or 10 books that I'm really excited about. I cannot wait until they're published. I must say that some of these books have already been published, but I'm really late to the party and I do not want to present them to you because they sound so cool to me. So I decided to just include them too. So these are all releases of the year 2023, but some have already happened. But yeah, I hope you enjoy as much as I do. This was a lot of fun. And yeah, I hope I found a few that speak to you too. All right, the first book I have on my list here is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Grady Hendrix is the author of The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampire, a book that I loved, that really drew my attention to the genre of horror because I never paid attention to it before, and I just fell in love with the Southern Book Club, so I am definitely going to read How to Sell a Haunted House. It is also horror, and this book has already been published. It came out January 17th, 2023, but I still want to present it to you. Grady Hendrix said that he wrote this book during the pandemic and wanted to write a classic gothic novel, horror novel, about a haunted house and family curses basically. The book, just like the Southern Book Club Guide, is set in Charleston, South Carolina. And I lived close to that at some point, so I love the setting already. We have the main character called Louise, who basically gets told that her parents have died and she has to come back to South Carolina, where she grew up, to take care of her parents' estate, to clear out the house and sell the house. Her father was an academic teacher. He was working in the academic field, and her mother was obsessed with puppets and dolls, it says here. So you can already imagine where this is going. I'm assuming we have a creepy house and a lot of dolls, and dolls in general I find very creepy and frightening, so I love the setting already. But yeah, Louise has to go there and take care of the house. She also has a brother who lives around Charleston who didn't do much of his life and is not very successful in what he does, and so he's helping her, but somehow the house has a mind of its own and does not want to be sold. So I think it sounds great. It sounds like a classic, and if you're into classic horror and if you've read the Southern Book Club Guide, I think this might be a very interesting book to you. I am definitely excited. The next book on the list is The Life of Puppets by TJ Klune. It's going to come out in April 25 to be exact. And yeah, it's another book that when I heard it's TJ Klune, I just had to put it on the list because I read his book, The House in the Cerulean Sea, and it was one of my favorite, if not the favorite book of the last year that I read. I mean, it melted my heart. It was such a cute story. I loved it. And so just reading his name, I put his name on this list right away, without even reading what it is about. Then I read what it is about, and my heart melted even more. So, I mean, this book, as soon as it comes out, I'm going to buy it. But yeah, let me tell you. So in this book, we are in a forest and we follow a family that is very peculiar because it is a family assembled from space parts. So they're not really human, although there's one human living with the family. And I just want to read this one little sentence because it just says it perfectly. So it says, "In a strange little home built into the branches of a grove of trees live 3 robots: fatherly inventor android Giovanni Lawson, a pleasantly sadistic nurse machine, and a small vacuum desperate for love and attention. Victor Lawson, a human, lives there too. They are a family hidden and safe." And I read this sentence and I fell in love with this robot. I mean, a small vacuum desperate for love and attention. I mean, this is TJ Klune. He is just amazing at evoking these feelings in me where I just want to hug the character and I want to take them into my arms. I mean, he just wrote this one sentence and I already feel so much. So I'm saying a lot here, but let's get to the main plot of the story. So basically, one of the robots, Giovanni, he had a dark past in which he has hunted humans. and his past comes to light, and so he is being tracked down by the authorities and gets arrested in a way. He's taken to like a city, and the rest of the family is now trying to save him, trying to rescue him, because they are going to take him apart, they're going to decommission him, which is in the robot world equal to death. So this family has to stick together, has to free one of their own, and yeah, it's a lot about betrayal, but at the same time feeling affection for this person. And I mean, all with robots. Yeah, I'm already a fan, so I can't wait to see what TJ Klune did with this premise. We have Pomegranate by Elaine Lee, which is coming out on April 11th. And first of all, I love the cover. I love pomegranates. It's one of my favorite fruits to eat. It just takes forever for me to peel. I never mastered the tutorials of how to peel a pomegranate, but let me not dive too much into my pomegranate stories here. Let's talk about the book. Our main protagonist is Margaret Atwood. She is a queer black woman who has spent the last few years in prison because she was in possession of opium. And yeah, she herself was an addict before she came into prison. She was also a mother. So when she was picked up by the police, she basically lost her children and yeah, came to prison being sick, being an addict. So she got sober, and now that it's time for her release, she wants to go back out and get back custody for her children. But also, she's leaving her lover, who I'm guessing is also another inmate in the prison. It doesn't say specifically, but that would make most sense. So she's leaving behind her lover, who has helped her basically overcome her addiction and become a better person. So we learn how her life is once she gets out of prison, the obstacles she's facing if she can back her children, and also facing her addiction. Once she's got sober, she's being confronted probably again with temptations. So I think it sounds really interesting. I mean, this main character just sounds so unique to me. I want to read about her story, and I want to know how it's like if you come out of prison and how life can be like, because it sounds really, really tough. And I'm rambling now, but I mean, what I want to say is that I just really think this character has a very interesting story to tell. So excited for that. The Wyford Code by Janice Hallett is another book I have on my list here. It already came out in January 24th, and it's really representative for this type of book. I think the author has already released a couple of them, and I have seen them at bookstores because they just stand out the way they're designed. And I've never picked any of them up, but it's about time, because it says here that it's basically a mystery, kind of like Agatha Christie's mysteries. And so a modern version of Agatha Christie. You don't need to say more. I'm already sold. I love Agatha Christie, so I have to pick this book up. It's about time. And in this particular story, we have Stephen Smith, who 40 years ago found a children's book with children's stories where there were weird annotations in the pages. He showed it to his teacher back at the time, and the teacher thought that it may be some secret code that the author put together. And just after he showed the book to the teacher, she goes missing. We have a time jump in the story 40 years later, where Stephen gets out of prison and decides it's time to investigate this disappearance of his teacher that happened such a long time ago. So I don't really know why he was in prison. I'm not sure what his story is, but I love a good mystery. And so if it says modern Agatha Christie, come on, I have to give it a try. All right, the next two books on my list here are both by Margaret Atwood. So that's the author of A Handmaid's Tale. And the first one is Old Babes in the Woods. It's coming out March 7th. At the time I'm recording this, it's not March 7th yet, but I think by the time I'm posting the video, it will be. So it should already be out. And yeah, it's basically a collection of short stories. And in these short stories, we follow a couple and their love, their relationship over the course of a decade. And we have each story, which is 7, basically takes place at a different point in time when small or big things are happening. It says it's a very uncommon love story and an uncommon love. And I'm excited because I've said this before, I love stories where we don't just get a small glimpse into a character's life, but really see them over a period of time. And I think it's a very interesting concept to see how their relationship changes and how their love changes. So I'm enticed. The other book by Margaret Atwood is 14 Days, which is coming out May 30th. And this book is one of the first that I've seen, at least it's the case for me, that are talking about the pandemic. So it's about the COVID pandemic and the shutdown at the beginning of 2020. In this book, we're in New York on the Lower East Side, and we follow basically the inhabitants of a certain apartment building, how they deal with the pandemic, how they grow together. And it says here that every day that everybody's cooped up inside, they become closer. People start gathering on the rooftop and telling each other stories because there's no other interaction with the outside world. So strangers basically become real neighbors. And yeah, I love the idea. The really cool part about this book, though, is that every single character, so every single tenant, is written by another author. So Margaret Atwood had asked a bunch of other authors. I don't know, does it say here? Yeah, such authors as Douglas Preston or Tommy Orange, and they have all written a different character. So it sounds really cool to me, really experiential. I want to see how it worked out. And obviously, I also can relate to spending the pandemic in New York. So it is a book that I am very excited about, that I have very high expectations of. Now we have another book that is from an author that I have never read anything by. It's called The Survivalist by Kashana Cauley. It already appeared on January, but the premise just sounds so funny, so interesting to me that I thought I would introduce it here. We have the main character called Aretha, and she falls in love with a guy called Aaron. Yes. Aaron is not normal, though. He lives with roommates who are all doomsday people. They are preppers. They believe in the end of the world, and so they collect and pile food and guns and everything I guess you would need when the world comes to an end in their house, and prepare for the day when everything goes down. And it's like a cult, I guess. It has a cult-like features, and Aretha comes into this world and gives us an account of how it's like. It says here that the book is a darkly humorous novel, and yes, I do expect to laugh a lot. I think it's a funny setup, but I also think it's a mirror of society and can give us a lot of food for thought. So I think it has a lot of potential, and I want to see how the author managed to put this into a story. So this is another one that I'm excited about. It's already out there. I haven't seen it much around, but I will pay attention if I see it spotted somewhere in a bookstore. Just last week, I started reading The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner, a book that I like a lot so far. And when I saw that the author is going to release another novel, I had to put it on this list. It's called The London Seance Society, and it's coming out on March 6th. So at the time this video airs, it's going to be out already. And it's also a gothic novel, and it has a very interesting, very atmospheric setup. So I'm just going to read the first sentence here. It says, 1873, at an abandoned chateau on the outskirts of Paris, a dark seance is about to take place, led by acclaimed spiritualist Vaudeline de Lair. So you can see it's very atmospheric, the setup. I mean, 1873, outskirts of Paris, Seance. I love this kind of stuff. I love Seance and the belief that there's something more. I don't know, ghosts or whatever it is, spirits. I love reading about it. I don't necessarily believe in it, but I love the idea, and I love the fiction about it. So in this book, it's a lot about seances, about contacting spirits. We have a main character who has the ability to talk to dead spirits. And so she's always helping investigators and other people who want to know what has happened to their dead loved ones. And yeah, that's basically it. And she's starting to get into this investigation that leads her to London, to the Seance Society, and she's starting to solve this crime, which turns out to be more than that, because she's somehow entangled in it. I don't know if I summarized this well. I have the feeling I didn't, but I guess all I want to say is that the atmospherics sound really great, and I love the idea of this spiritual contacting spirits, and I just love the works in fiction that talk about this kind of thing. So that's that. And yeah, now we're at the last book already. It's called With My Little Eye by Jocelyn Jackson. It's coming out on April 25th, and it is a thriller. I love thrillers, so it had to be another thriller on this list. The main protagonist in this novel is Maribel Mills, who is an actress that lives in California together with her daughter. She has a huge problem though because she has a stalker. And when the stalking gets unbearable to the point where she fears for her own and her daughter's dangers, she decides to abandon California and her life there, move across country and start over in Atlanta. But once she gets to Atlanta, she still feels like somebody's watching her. And so she doesn't know, is this the stalker that has followed me across the country? But how would he know that I'm here? Or is it maybe my ex-husband? Is it the new neighbor? Is it my lover? You know, there are multiple options, and she's feeling terrified. And so everybody seems suspicious. Just reading about it, I get like goosebumps, and I'm already terrified myself. And so this is what a good thriller should do. And I'm definitely going to look out for this one and want to read with my little eyes. And yeah, so this is all I wanted to talk about. These were all the books I wanted to show. I am really excited about them. I hope you saw a few that were also interesting to you. I think that these books were mostly all that appeared or are going to appear up to May. Maybe later this year I'll do another video with the books that have a publishing date that's later. Let me know if you would like that, if you enjoyed this video or not. I think I liked it a lot. I love just browsing books and thinking about, when I'm not reading, I like to think about what I'm going to read next. So yeah, always reading on my mind. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I wish you guys all the best. Have a fantastic week, and yes, stay safe, stay healthy. Till next time. Bye bye.